Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk all things major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I'm your host, Chris, and with the recent passing of the biggest Star Wars event, Star Wars Celebration, where we get the update for all of the upcoming events, movies, projects, video games, and it's just all of it. People have been asking, are we going to get one of these for Marvel? We have DC Fandom, we have the Star Wars event, we have Disney Plus Day. When are we going to be getting something for Marvel? This is the biggest franchise arguably going on right now. Blockbuster after blockbuster, tons of projects a year. We need an event where we can just have all of the cool Marvel updates. Well, today, Kevin Feige has teased exactly this event and given us the details that have inspired it, potentially giving it the name Avengers-Con, which, when Ms. Marvel drops in a couple of days, you'll be able to get an idea of what Avenger-Con looks like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our daily uploads. We're talking all sorts of major movie and television news, so if you don't want to miss out on that, feel free to join the community. You can also check me out on Instagram and Twitter. Links are in the description down below. So the possible creation of this event is actually a pretty big deal. When COVID first hit and Marvel pulled out of San Diego Comic-Con, they stopped sending as many people to CCXP or the New York Comic-Con, places where typically we would get Marvel updates for upcoming phases, slates, movies, and now TV shows. We were all kind of starting to wonder, well, what's the new plan? And even today, Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con, which is famously where we've received the majority of our Marvel updates, isn't the same as it was a few years back. We do have the Disney Plus Day event and the D23 Expo, which is where up until recently we have been getting the most Marvel updates. In fact, we were expecting and continue to expect September 8th throughout that weekend to be getting all of the Phase 5 updates and new Disney Plus TV shows and potential first looks at Disney Plus shows and movies we already know, and that is Disney Plus Day and the D23 Expo. However, we mentioned and talked about in the beginning of the video the Star Wars Celebration. Now, this is a big event. It's like a massive convention that lasts almost 5 days. They give us first looks, there's panels, there are exclusive Funko Pops, merchandise, dressing up in your favorite cosplay, competitions, and it's honestly just an absolute blast. The expectation is that Marvel, an even arguably larger franchise right now with many more projects and movies, bigger blockbusters, they should be doing the same, and this is what Kevin Feige said about the possibility of this earlier today. Now, keep in mind, the timing of this is pretty interesting because it happened during the Ms. Marvel press conference. The red carpet event happened a day ago, and yeah, the series is about to drop in a week. I've been able to and had the privilege of watching the first 2 episodes, and yeah, it's geared towards children, but it is a lot of fun and has a ton of connections, Easter eggs, references, and callbacks to the entire MCU up to this point. With that being said, there's a moment during the episodes when she goes to an Avengers Comic-Con. It's called Avenger-Con, where they're celebrating the heroes of the universe who helped save them from the blip and from many other issues. People have their favorite superheroes, much like you could imagine if they existed in the real world. With that being said, the Illuminati asked Kevin Feige this during the conference today for Ms. Marvel regarding whether or not we will ever see a real-life Avengers-Con put on by Marvel and Disney. And this is what he said. We were definitely talking about that on the set. We shot that right in the middle of COVID protocols, so there hadn't been a convention for a very long time, and it was very cathartic for all of us to see that. And we were shooting Spider-Man No Way Home on the stage right next door, believe it or not. Actually, the scene with the 3 Spideys. And a lot of that crew kept sneaking over to see and attend Avengers-Con, walking around. So I think that might be fun to do sometime. Yes. Now, when you see Ms. Marvel, and I hope you all can get excited to see this, even though it's a little bit outside of the scope that the majority of the fan base on YouTube are looking for, we've been enjoying the darker tones with WandaVision, Loki even, especially Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and this one is certainly geared towards kids, teenagers, maybe young adults, where it's kind of like what's it like to go to school where superheroes exist, in a world where superheroes exist, and their social media desires, and TikTok stars and YouTubers, something that we aren't as familiar with growing up. But like I just mentioned, there are a ton of connections and references, Easter eggs, callbacks to old moments that happened throughout the entire Avengers storyline, throughout the MCU, and this is the first project in Phase 4 that has really had those crazy fun callbacks, talking about other characters beyond the title character. Whereas with WandaVision, Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, all of these characters, they never really left their own sphere. But Ms. Marvel is a young girl who loves Avengers, loves the superheroes, and of course, obviously, Captain Marvel. So when that episode drops and you're able to see Avengers-Con, you'll be able to see exactly what it is that Kevin Feige is talking about here, that how cool would it be to do this one day. And I think also with the parallels and the comparison of Star Wars Celebration, we could see something like this for sure happening in real life. Let's be honest, the MCU has a massive fan base. There are tons of you out there who love dissecting every second of the projects we get, nitpicking maybe sometimes, and maybe sometimes a little too much. However, we're here for it. They're fans of people talking about things on YouTube and several channels dedicated to finding out what's coming up, finding out what the newest rumors are, the Easter eggs, the connections, the timeline, everything. So having a group of all of these fans in one place with some of the actors there, some of the heroes there in front of us, Kevin Feige, the crew, the team, everybody announcing new projects, talking about old projects, exclusive merchandise, this is something that 1000% needs to happen. And it sounds like it's going to happen. There's no way in a world where this event exists for Star Wars, it shouldn't also exist for the MCU. And if you think about it, on top of that, having to share D23 time and Disney Plus Day time to talk about Marvel projects, we never feel satisfied with the amount of time Feige has. We never felt satisfied with the amount of time he had at Hall H during San Diego Comic-Con, when he would get up, and in 2018, the last time they announced new phases at San Diego Comic-Con, he said, we don't have time for Fantastic Four, we don't have time for X-Men, we don't have time for mutants, I suppose he said specifically, but that's because these are rushed panels. They have 2-3 hours to talk about all of the new projects coming out. But if you have a 5-day-long event, a several-day-long event, you have more than enough time to talk about everything. DC Fandom is a good example of somebody who has managed to do this. Now, it's a virtual event for DC Fandom, and I really hope they decide to have an Avengers-Con or a Marvel Celebration or whatever they want to call it when the time comes, that it will be in person like with Star Wars Celebration. There's just so much more personal touch when you get to physically see these actors. And yeah, it's easy for everybody to attend to the virtual event, but there's more communication, more interaction. You get to see the cosplayers, the designs, and then of course the excitement when the panel finally drops, talking about future projects, trailers, first looks, and more. But let me know, would you guys be interested in Avengers-Con? And I hope when you watch Ms. Marvel, you can think about that potentially happening in the future for us at maybe even a bigger scale than we see in the series. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thank you to everybody who watched till the very end of the video. If you found it helpful, useful, or interesting, consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell. And I'll catch all of you guys in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.